Well, here we are again with the custom VF1100 Sabre project. It's not a new project. It's a project that I left sitting in the yard for 4 or 5 years. And then when I came back to give it some attention, the gas tank was full of rust, the motor was seized up, and the carburetors were gummed up. So I still have to get the rest of the rust out of the gas tank, which is not really going to be that big of a deal. I videotaped the process of getting the motor unseized, which that was very successful. And then when I got the motorcycle running, it would only idle when choked. It would go dead when you turn the choke off and if you tried to give it any gas at all. So this is a V4. I wish I'd videotaped the process, but I basically had my hands full doing the actual job. So I actually did remove the carburetor yesterday. The carburetors, there's 4 of them. Pulled those suckers out. I did not remove the radiator. So therefore I did not actually remove this stuff over here. The coolant lines and the thermostat and all that. I did not remove that, I just moved it. Pardon my hand. Now it did leak a little bit. I loosened the clamps and moved it. It leaked a little bit. So I may put a couple of new clamps on down there. One of those broke while I was tightening it. And that braided steel, that stuff is a pain in the ass. Looks cool. So I've got a spill-free funnel on here in order to make sure that there's no air bubbles in the coolant. And I'll put a new clamp over there on that coolant hose shortly. So anyway, took the carburetors out. You have to take them all out at the same time. If you are patient, it is not that big of a deal, except the heat shield that goes up in front of the carburetor, I did not reinstall with the carburetor. It made it very difficult to get that off without taking the radiator off. And I'll show you a picture of it. I actually had powder coated it blue so it didn't match the motorcycle at all. So we'll see if that works, not having that there. Seemed like it might be a wasted piece, but we'll see. So I tried to clean the carburetors up. Took them apart one at a time. So I took one float bowl off and then took the jets and the float and everything out. And then took this out, the corresponding diaphragm cover. Did it one at a time. So it took a while, but that way I didn't get any of the parts mixed up and they went back exactly where they came from. The key to putting these carburetors back on is basically having good boots. I replaced these about 10 years ago. And they actually still are in pretty good shape. Alright, so you might notice I'm running without an air box and no air filter, and a funnel directly into the fuel inlet to the carburetor, so no fuel filter. So be careful if you're going to do that. Choke is off. notice how the tack comes to life when you give it gas. I've got to figure out about that. Alright, so I would call that a successful carb cleaning. That's the first time I have cleaned those carbs myself. The last time I did it, I took it to a shop and basically treated them like they were some kind of mystery box that I was afraid to open. Here's the key. The key is you are not going to take them apart during any time while they are off the motorcycle. You are not taking those apart. If you're gonna take them apart, I still believe you should spend the $350 and send them to the guy Billy C on V4 Honda BBS. Sounds like a commercial, but apparently he does a good job, and he polishes them, which would be nice. But I didn't want to spend $350. But if you've got to take them apart, it certainly looked like it would be very complicated once you got those things apart to get them back together correctly. But as long as you leave them together, and I'll post a picture, I took a couple of pictures. They had gunk inside them. The jets were clogged. A couple of the sliders were stuck. I'm still trying to figure out how all that works. But as you see, no choke. Response to throttle, and all right, down here is where your idle adjuster is. Up in there. See, so that's working. Now I hear a little ticking there. Like a valve ticking. A lot of smoke. You hear the ticking. Alright, so I'm sorry I did not videotape the cleaning of the carburetors, but there are a couple of videotapes on YouTube, and you just have to be patient. Do not get in a hurry. And clean everything out with carburetor spray, which is very poisonous, and you don't want to get it on any painted surface. So I had to be very careful because I didn't want to get it on my powder coat work there on the plenum and on the diaphragm covers. I actually did get some on the powder coating down here on the float bowl. Up pretty good, not real quick, and I actually got some on my smartphone, but fortunately I have a cover on it and it didn't eat that up too quickly. But you do not want to get that carburetor spray on anything, so just be careful. Get a set of new boots, or apparently you can soak your old boots in hell, I can't remember. Boil them, fabric softener, maybe that's what I heard. Anyway, there it is. Gotta get the gas tank done, put some new tires on it. See why the headlight's not working. Work on the instrument cluster. And just kind of get all the chrome polished back up. Get it cleaned up. And keep running it until it's not smoking. Alright, take care.